from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for an exclusive forum featuring the candidates for LA County District Attorney. Join KBLA's Tavis Smiley as he helps navigate what promises to be a forum full of fire when the candidates trying to unseat current LA DA George Gascon come together on stage on the campus of the Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. Again, it's the LA County District Attorney Forum, live, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580, Saturday morning, January 13th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Helping to raise your civic IQ. We're KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. I run New York. I get it. I get it. Yeah. I took quarter water, sold it in bottles for $2. And Coca-Cola came and bought it for beans. That's what's up. Have a baby by me, baby. Be a millionaire. I write the check before the baby comes. Who the hell cares? I'm stanky rich. I'ma die trying to spin this kid. Southside's up in this bitch. Yeah, I smell like the Vogue. I used to sell soap. I did play the block. Now I play on boats.
Welcome back into hour 2 of RSVP. RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm a little tongue-tied tonight. I'm still a little chilly because it's still cold in LA.
Are we still having that windstorm tonight or something like that? Is that still coming?
Listen, it said that this is one of the coldest winters on record in California.
No, it definitely is because, yeah.
I'm so scared of my gas bill. But to wrap up on Darnell Ferguson, he was selected as one of 20 student chefs to cook meals for Team USA back in the day during the 2008 Olympics, and he was on several shows on the Food Network. And unfortunately, he got mixed up in street life. He's been arrested 6 times on drug-related charges. So, you know.
So was this like a drug-fueled, like...
I don't know if he was trying to get money from her or he felt, you know, just...
People need to just practice self-control.
Emotional intelligence
And you
seems to
can't
be
use...
lacking.
Yes, and sounds like an emotional terroristic tactic, for sure.
Perhaps.
Breaking and entering, attacking, strangulation. It's
pretty violent.
This is
It's a lot.
misguided. Just passion. Just go do some sit-ups.
Workout. So Jane Fonda, she's a legend and an icon, right?
Workout tapes.
Yeah, she's a little more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you think of, though.
Yes, because that's when she entered my life, the workout tape era.
Okay, fair.
Mm-hmm.
So she was on Kerry Washington's podcast, right?
Kerry Washington got a podcast.
Everybody has a podcast. What are you saying? It's 2024. Everyone has something to say, and
I guess they do.
you know.
Sometimes I just got to stop talking because everybody else is talking.
So it's called Street You Grew Up On, right? And so, you know, Jane Fonda has been one. She was involved in the civil rights movement. She's spoken up for women. You know, that's very much been a part of her adult life. But she shared a story about learning about racism as a child that, you know, probably set her up for her, I don't want to call it a career, but her
life's work.
Her life work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
word for it as far as activism, right? So she said that, you know, she followed obviously into her late father, Henry Fonda's acting career. And you know, she's been outspoken throughout her whole time about the Vietnam War, injustices, people of color, HIV, stigmas, all of that. You know, again, very, very passionate, right? So she said that the only time her father ever hit her was that when her dad, Henry, and his second wife were living in New York, right? And she had been raised in Los Angeles with her brother Peter, you know, for most of her life. And that her stepmother had black friends. And she said for the first time she got to know Jeffrey Holder. And you know who Jeffrey Holder is, right?
No.
Jeffrey Holder was, you've seen Boomerang, right? the photographer that was, and he used to be in the 7 Up commercials.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay.
The one that produced the Strange commercial?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, got it.
She said she didn't realize, she always thought of him as a dancer. She said she didn't think of him as an artist, but anyway, he was a great artist. But she said that she didn't know any of his talents when she met him at this time, and that she hadn't spent a great deal of time around black people in her adolescence when she grew up in LA, right? She said that she wasn't exposed to any people of color at that time. And so she said,
California of all places. Funny.
she said that she heard someone when she was in New York, she doesn't break down really the circumstance, right? But she heard someone use the N word in describing a black person, and that she repeated it once, right? And she said that her father slapped her across her face and told her, "Don't you ever, ever say that word again." Because that's how strongly, he believed in, I guess, not being racist, and teaching his children. What a lot of people are bringing up is that she has shared previously that when she was a child, her grandfather forced her father, Henry, to watch a black man be hanged and his body dragged around the town. He was basically lynched in a square in Omaha, Nebraska. And it impacted his father, as it would anyone, so greatly that that's why he made films like, there's a film from 1943 called The Oxbow Incident, 1956 The Wrong Man, and then of course 12 Angry Men, which was made in 1957, which is about jury. And all of them have a slant about racism, and usually in his role he is supporting for more acceptance across the lines and so forth. She said that he cared about justice and hated racism, and that the slap taught her to pay attention. She said that's why she continues to speak up about injustices to this day, including the Black Lives Matter movement, George Floyd, etc. So,
Thanks for sharing, Jane.
But this is the thing. I do feel like thanks for sharing, because I know that people are like, why is she putting that out there, right? And if this was 1980, which I'm sure she probably shared it back then, she would be applauded. But I think it's important.
Would she have been applauded in 1980?
I think for being so transparent, those type of things or whatever.
I don't think she would have said anything at all in the 80s.
I think she's told this story before. I don't think that
I
that
think
aspect of it is new.
I think it hits different now, because I think at this point in the game, when you are a white person, you have to make it clear which side you stand on in this
But
climate.
do you not think that she is, like, in those things?
Well, no. Here's the thing. I think it takes white people like her to make a difference and make the change, because who else is going to do it? This is not our issue. We didn't create it. It's for them to fix. So it's going to take people like her, of her stature, of
and
her,
how her father was.
yes,
Yeah.
to make the change. So thanks for sharing, and thank you for letting me know where you stand, so I can know how to move towards you.
Because I also feel like, we talk a lot about the younger generation not really being tapped into history or knowing what things are like, or that stuff
Right.
really happened, just hearing it on surface levels. And so I think she's 86 years old. So,
Oh, is she the same age as
yeah.
my grandma?
I mean, so that's a long, she
Yeah.
lived through the sexual liberation, the women's lib movement, and those type of things. So I feel like, although it's kind of icky feeling, right? It's important to remember that, especially in these conversations, not everyone is one side or the other.
Right.
According to race. We have seen some black people that are definitely not kin to us.
Oh, like who? Clarence Thomas?
And, we have seen some white people that have been, there and been supportive. And, there are reasons behind it, good, bad, or indifferent. And sometimes we don't connect to those stories, especially where we are currently as far as a nation and as a country.
Yeah.
So, listen, when we come forward, more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. So, what are you doing this Friday morning? How about you come join the KBLA delegation as we make a historic announcement and unveil our climate justice campaign for 2024. We'll be assembled for this major press conference along with LA Mayor Karen Bass, Ben Jealous, Executive Director of the Sierra Club, and a host of other public and private leaders who are joining us on this journey to justice, climate justice. We can't think of a better way to kick off the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend, linking social justice and climate justice. So, come join us this Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. at the beautiful MLK Memorial Tree Grove at the top of Kenneth Hahn Park off La Cienega. Once again, that's this Friday morning, January 12th at 10:30 a.m. as we take on the task of elevating the climate conversation by amplifying the voices of those who are most impacted by the climate catastrophes we are all witnessing in real time. KBLA delegation, we hope to see you this Friday morning at KBLA Talk 1580. Climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king.
Are you a landlord in LA County with unpaid rent expenses? This is your last chance to apply for the Los Angeles County Rent Relief Program. This program is available to landlords with unpaid rent expenses in Los Angeles County, excluding the city of Los Angeles. If you are a landlord with unpaid rent, you could be eligible for a grant of up to $30,000 per unit. Tenants with unpaid rent are also welcome to refer their landlords to apply for this program. To learn more about the program or to apply, visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. The application deadline is January 12, 2024. Submit your application before it's too late. This program is administered by the Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Of course, I'm not alone. I am joined by Trent Jackson, Trent the artist. Hey.
What's poppin'?
So, we talked about Jane Fonda, right?
Her workout tapes.
And her workout tapes. And they worked too. She made a lot of money from that in the Jane Fonda studios. She did a big pivot. I think she was almost 40 when she did that.
Yeah, I'm almost 40 when I want to start working out too. So I need to get back into those tapes from the 80s and get it popping.
It was a movement.
Get some leg warmers and a oversized sweatshirt and a headband like LaToya Jackson and go to town.
Okay. So Olivia Newton-John, let's get physical. So listen,
muscles, Diana Ross.
So we know that 50 right,
Curtis,
is a bit of a antagonizer,
a troll,
a little bit of a bully.
a man cancer, and they get a little crazy.
Little bit, right? But he has employed through his shows, right, a lot of black women.
Yes.
And, you know, he keeps them in, I guess, according
Laced.
to him, laced. Okay.
Stacked with cash.
Stacked with cash.
And the finest of fabrics and fashions.
The fashions on all of the Power shows are really great. So he brought Monique on to BMF, right? When she spoke out of being blackballed. This was a couple of seasons ago. I think during season 2, she had a role. And now he's trying to recruit Taraji, who he used to shade when Empire and Power were 2 of the top black shows that both had a little element of... I never understood the comparison, though, because in premise, they're 2 totally different shows in concept. They just happen to have all black casts, but Empire is about the music industry. Power is about the New York street gang.
Yeah.
But people always compare them, right? And so 50 has said that he is serious about getting Taraji her worth as an actress. And he wants her to come join him on a project, right? Now, has he actually reached out to her or her people, or is he just putting this on social media? Who knows? But he said that, because of course he uses social media well. Someone phoned him today thinking that he was being BSing about working with Taraji. He said until he told them what he made stars pay the real Mary J. Blige to be on Ghost. And, you know, tomorrow's Mary's birthday. Shout out to Mary, Capricorn.
How much did he pay her?
So Mary is being paid, allegedly, $400,000 per episode, which is over $200,000 more per episode than Taraji was receiving on Empire at its peak.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot. In 10 episodes a season.
Yeah.
So that's what, about close to $4 million a season?
Yeah.
No.
Something like that.
Something like that. My math is off.
The forensic accountant will give us an accurate figure in about 2.5 seconds.
Forensic accountant, go ahead and do the math right now.
He's already got it figured out.
Because I'm like, what, 400,000?
He could have brokered the deal for all we know.
Yeah, that's like $4 million. 10 episodes, $400,000 an episode. So, you know, that's serious money. And it's serious money for television. And we know that when Taraji was on a show that was dominating the ratings, which is why she fired her team, that she wasn't bringing in half of that. Do you think, 1, that 50 really means it? And 2, do you think that it is something that Taraji would seriously consider?
If somebody sent over the proper paperwork and it was an actual legitimate deal, I don't think Taraji is turning down that much money in her right mind.
Because if they're paying Mary $400,000. Monet.
I don't even watch
Monet
the show.
Tejada.
I don't even watch it.
You don't?
I don't watch. I've never watched any of them. Maybe one episode of Power.
I love Power.
People do.
The Power universe is strong here. So,
and it's no shade. It's just I don't really need to watch any more shows about anything that I've lived or orbited.
In what capacity have you lived the Power life?
Listen. I'm back out here in these
about
streets.
That life?
Listen, and I was out here in these streets, and I'm back in the streets. Not like that in that capacity, but yeah.
So, listen, but is it even though Taraji's obviously done TV, right? And you know, Power is a series that, though it has garnered big ratings, and there have been some performances that have been really amazing in there, right? It's never received the awards accolades or things of that nature, right? Mm-hmm. It's a cult favorite type show. So at this point in her career, would people view it as a step back, as a, oh, you're just working? Because I think about the conversation that we just had a short while ago about Vivica and Vivica's pivot, right?
I was going to bring that back up.
And Taraji has had a run and a peak in some ways. You know, Baby Boy came out 20 years ago. By the time Vivica was about 20 years into her career in the mid 2000s,
It was wigs.
the roles were sweet. Yeah, it
And
was
peop-
an
and
earlier
people,
clip.
And people clowned her for them wigs too.
Not only that, I was reading something and someone suggested that part of the reason why they feel Vivica sort of transitioned or, you know, in their words, fell off is that what happened with her and 50 Cent and her continued public conversation surrounding it made people not view her in the same light.
I think that's part of it. I think that
Because, you know, and not to interrupt, but when she was on that MTV Awards special with him, I mean, not special, it was the VMAs, and she came out to, I can't remember what song it was that he was performing, and she dropped it low, and it was a little slow coming back up. The reality is, she was only 38 years old, so she wasn't like elderly, as people were trying to say, but because, you know, especially at that time, you were pushed out the industry as a woman rather quickly. But as a black woman, you weren't allowed to hold on to your sex appeal or, you know, your desirability and still continue to work.
when she was 38, 38 was different than the 38 that it is now.
Correct.
Two different worlds, and not to, you know, just take anything away, but I think Vivica, part of her is there was a lot of things with her. So it was the relationship, it was the continued chatter, the things that she admitted to out. It was just a continual decline, but also the plastic surgery
Yeah.
and her grasping for. And I don't want to say grasping for youth, but
see,
it was a weird time for her, and I think that she was just trying to hold on to relevance and hold on. She saw something slipping that she had worked so hard for, and like anybody who worked hard for something would do anything to try to maintain it. And because we were living in a world where, you know, social media was starting to emerge and the internet and viral clips and all these things, you're kind of doing what you think is right at the time to maintain relevance. And I think that she just became victim to that.
I mean, I can agree with that. Forensic accountant in the chat, he says, I'd agree with that assessment. She acted childishly and did so publicly.
Yeah.
And Crystal Waite said, I felt that way about Vivica. I was younger, so I looked to her as older, her and 50, ew. So I think that though, and I know it sounds so simple, but I think the pressures of the industry to still look amazing,
Especially at that time.
Especially at that time. We have much better
Technology.
yeah, you know, better fillers, better application of said things, you
Temporary
know, better
fillers.
Botox application.
Yeah.
She probably now knows, don't lift my brows when you're doing that so I don't look surprised if I want a little Botox here and there. You know, just different methods and mannerisms. But I think also at that time, though we were coming off of sort of the golden black renaissance of the 90s and 90s movies, the reality is there are much more opportunities and stories now for black women in their 40s and 50s to be a part of, that's not limited to just being someone's mother on screen.
Yeah.
And I think that that is something that she faced too, which is why she pivoted to Lifetime movies, where it's like, okay, well, I can step behind the camera and I can still, you know, get projects out there and being things and not just be regulated to the mom.
Yes.
You know? Because the reality is you can't be an ingenue forever. And I think people understand that, but it doesn't mean that there automatically has to be two things, the ingenue or, you know, the martyr, which, you know, obviously two sides of of the same coin, I guess, in theory. Forensic accountant says Vivica, much like LaToya Luckett, was fine the way she was. Oh, I thought he was going to say LaToya Jackson. I was completely caught off guard. What? LaToya Jackson had plastic surgery.
Tons of it.
Right. So I was just...
LaToya Jackson is a plastic surgery pioneer.
What do you mean?
And all the girls want to be like LaToya. Every person that has gotten plastic surgery, let's be real, they have modeled themselves after the Jacksons.
You think?
If it was not for, the Jacksons, specifically Michael and LaToya, they made plastic surgery cool for black people. Wasn't nobody thinking about a nose job until they saw Michael and LaToya doing it.
I mean, but there are others in the industry but you're saying that it was quiet conversations.
They were the clear model, okay? Because it was obvious. They talked about it. They glamorized it. LaToya especially, she glamorized her plastic surgery. And,
that isn't interesting.
And made it kind of cool because she was so open and talked about it and oh yeah, I'm getting this done and blah, blah. And people followed that. Look at Lil' Kim. Who she look like?
Jocelyn Wilder. No, I'm just fine.
Who did she first look like as she was morphing? As we saw the morph happening, it was like, oh, you getting that Jackson's treatment. Anybody that got plastic surgery, people always made the reference. Oh, you looking real Michael Jackson? Or you looking real Jackson?
Right. But it was in a negative fashion initially
because it was too much, and it was too altered.
Well, they probably didn't have doctors that were familiar with working with,
They should have went to the Jackson's
African Americans. I'm talking about the Jackson's doctor.
Yeah.
They caused
but they set the tone for it, and they had a certain aesthetic, all of them, and they all got them noses. The Jackson nose.
Okay. All right. Well, look.
I love it.
So, one, do you think? Because I can't remember how we got. Oh, we were talking about Vivica.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think it's crazy how short-sighted we have become and how we're so quick to chop off someone's career or their accomplishments.
But I think that's a side effect of the digital age. I think that people like us who know what life is like without these devices and who were living before the internet, that have a chronological history book in their brain, who knew, right? We have a different take than these new kids.
I agree with that. Well, listen, when we come forward, more trending topics and headlines, we'll get into a little bit of, do you think 50 is really serious and really wants to help? Or is it just a little bit of get back? And, of course, we're going to talk about that woman who was left $700,000 from her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, we're going to get into all of that more on the other side.
I wish y'all would.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Call this my new hit, but it ain't new though. I got rid of my old shit, now I got new bros. First it was the Benzo, now I'm in the Enzo. Ferrari, I'm sorry, I keep blowing up. They call me the cake man, the strawberry shake man. I spray the AR, make your whole clique break dance. Backspin, head spin, flatline, you're dead then. 9 shells, 19. Who all get it crackin'? I was young, I couldn't do good. Now I can't do bad. I ride back the new Jag, I just bought a new Jag. Now tell me what.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. It appears fewer migrants from Texas and Louisiana are being dropped off at New Jersey Transit train stations for a train ticket into New York. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy tells Fox 5 that in the last couple of days, the frequency of bus drop-offs has decreased dramatically. This comes after Phil Murphy demanded the charter bus companies carrying migrants from the southern border give at least 32 hours notice. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams says Texas Governor Greg Abbott started using New Jersey as a workaround to a new city rule requiring notice and limiting the time migrant buses can arrive at Port Authority bus terminals. Angela Bassett and Mel Brooks accepted honorary Oscars at the annual Governor's Award. Bassett paid tribute to the 10 black women who have won Oscars and expressed hope that there will be more opportunities for people of color moving forward. The 97-year-old Brooks was honored for a lifetime in the business going back to the 1950s. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Limitations apply.
So, what are you doing this Friday morning? How about you come join the KBLA delegation as we make a historic announcement and unveil our climate justice campaign for 2024. We'll be assembled for this major press conference along with LA Mayor Karen Bass, Ben Jealous, Executive Director of the Sierra Club, and a host of other public and private leaders who are joining us on this journey to justice, climate justice. We can't think of a better way to kick off the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend, linking social justice and climate justice. So, come join us this Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. at the beautiful MLK Memorial Tree Grove at the top of Kenneth Hahn Park off La Cienega. Once again, that's this Friday morning, January 12th at 10:30 a.m. as we take on the task of elevating the climate conversation by amplifying the voices of those who are most impacted by the climate catastrophes we are all witnessing in real time. KBLA delegation, we hope to see you this Friday morning at KBLA Talk 1580. Climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king.
In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, children are the future. Here, tobacco companies are committed to higher education, offering scholarships to students who submit essays about the benefits of vaping. The tobacco industry even sponsors summer camps for kids. Don't worry, the tobacco-sponsored programs have been linked to leaving your kids more interested in smoking. In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, the world's deadliest industry is your child's friend.
See reality at undo.org.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm lonely lonely nights I start to fade. On lonely nights I start to fade. Her love's 1,000 miles away. Her love's 1,000 miles away. Memories made in the coldest winter. Goodbye, my friend. Will I ever love again? Memories made in the coldest winter. It's 4 a.m. and I can't sleep. It's 4 a.m. and I can't sleep. Her love is all that I can see. Her
This is so sad.
all that I can see. Memories made in the coldest winter. Goodbye.
Andy be playing too much. He be throwing me with these. I'm not doing that.
This is from the album about Amber, right?
Is this 808 to Heartbreaks?
Yeah. That's what I thought. Listen.
Well, we know Kanye is superior to Taylor Swift and Beyonce, so.
What do you mean?
According to Kendi.
Oh, shout out to Kendi. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Andy trying to depress us and what have you, bringing us.
Actually, I'm not.
It's cold outside. I don't even.
Boom. There we go.
That's all the depression.
Coldest
we need.
winter in Los Angeles.
Listen,
ever.
it's 12 degrees outside.
When I think about the coldest winter, I think about Winter Santiago. Y'all don't know?
We know her.
Okay. I just need y'all to get up on your black list.
What's the? Don't tell me the Sister Soldier, right?
Correct.
Okay, I was
Correct.
Take me back to the 90s real quick.
You know, that was the OG. It's still amazing to me that they never were able to get that project off the ground. It was supposed to be made into a film. Jada Pinkett Smith actually bought the rights early on. No, way back in the day when she was young enough to actually play Winter. And then later, she was going to just produce it. And I don't know who they were looking at, but, you know, it's one of the OGs. It's one of the greats. That, Fly Girl, what else goes in there that's along that kind of lit thing? I can't remember anyway.
That was a long time ago.
Well, Zane is more like, you know, sex romance novels. I'm talking about like the, you know, hood girl drug dealer fantasy type novels that were popular in the early and mid 90s. Every girl had the paperback stuffed in her back.
Oh, Omar Tyree, Eric Jerome Dickey.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah. I used to go to 24-hour fitness on Century, and Eric Jerome Dickey used to be in my kickboxing class.
That is crazy. I used to run into him at La Salsa on Sepulveda in Manchester all the time. Like, that was his jam.
I'm telling you. Well, I mean, he was local.
Eric.
You know, I
Yeah,
believe he lived in Inglewood,
No,
right?
he lived in Leimert Park, actually.
Oh, he lived in Leimert.
Yeah.
Shout out to Leimert Park, home of the artists and creatives. Andy?
A little bit off topic, but since we're talking about books, was you a Goosebumps girl?
Goosebumps was after my time.
I was going to say, you are, don't tell me, Nancy Drew.
You know, that is so first of all, but
yes, the Nancy Drew mysteries.
Yeah, but you know, here's the ironic thing about that is, wasn't there a CW version of the Nancy Drew show that came on recently with Nancy and the Hardy Boys reworked?
Remember.
They always bring that back, but
Always.
Let me tell you, my first crush in life is connected to the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew.
You're funny.
And that's all I'll say about it.
You know, and I knew that you were going to stop it there and not go any further.
So, you know, Urban Spinster says, no Andy, Judy Blume. Shout out to Judy Blume. Judy Blume was like the early hits. That's a different genre too.
Yeah.
Definitely. Judy Blume was like prepubescent, preteen, you know, what we refer to as tween. I learned a lot from Judy Blume books as well. Mm-hmm. Learned about, you know, your cycle. Learned that girls believed that there were exercises that you could do to increase your bust. And there was a little chant that went along with it.
See, y'all doing a witchcraft and sorcery over there.
No, it was an exercise. It was like a workout. And it was interesting. And they recently made Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret into, I think, was it a series or a movie? It was on Hulu. So
there's a lot over there on Hulu.
Shout out to that. Forensic Accountant. ABC used to run the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew Mysteries in the 70s. Yeah, that's the show that I'm talking about. What do you mean?
He trying to play you.
Right. I know.
You thought I was trying to play you first, but he iced the cake.
He came along like, I'm going to put the whole thing on the table.
Blast you right now. 78. Come through.
Listen, I had a babysitter back in the day who was really into that show. And, like, I guess her mom had given her Nancy Drew books. So I have, like, print copies of those books from, like, the 60s and stuff like that. I should take them to a bookstore.
No, you should keep those.
I mean, well,
you should keep them. I think that people, I'm like a fake archivist. Like,
me too.
I have all of my CDs from back in the day. I have tons of like magazines, like all the Jets.
Do you still have like your CD book, like they used to go in the car?
And yes, and a couple of them got stolen from out of the cars. But
that used to be my favorite thing, to get in somebody's car and flip through their CD book.
Yeah. But I have like, I don't know if you remember this magazine, but the YSB magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I have about 20 of those editions, and it's like boxed off.
I have some Ebonies. I have a few Jets. I have a like quite a few Vibes.
Yeah, me
like
too.
Like some classic, and I have Honey. I don't know if you remember that magazine.
Yeah,
so I have some of those. So I'm with you on that. But at a certain point, you're like, got to get a storage facility or something.
No, you don't let it get that far. Some stuff you just got to condense, and like, this is important. This is important.
Where do you store them? Do you keep them in plastic? How do you preserve them?
Yeah, some stuff is in plastic, but other stuff is just in a box and like off in a closet, like buried within it's like sealed up in a box within the box.
Okay, to make sure, because I obviously, we're going way off subject, but that's okay. We're entertaining. I used to work at Nike, obviously, and while I was there, I had access to a lot of like limited edition, rare edition sneakers and so forth, right? So I had a gang of regular shoes, but a gang of limited edition shoes. But I didn't know that you needed to store them in a certain way, or else, like, if they're not like put in like sealed plastic or something like that, that basically your shoe is going to fall apart.
Yes.
And I put on a pair of, I can't remember what type of limited editions. They might have been like these safari, I can't remember what they were, but they were, some limited edition shoe. And I was out and I was walking and I'm like, what is that flap going on? The whole sole started disconnecting from the shoe because it had just
dried out.
Degrade that far. Yeah. They were about 15 years old, but I saved them because I'm like, ooh, this is hot. They were like, going up on whatever it was at the time, for sneakerheads or whatever.
You can save them, but not wear them.
Well, you probably should store them better or something, but definitely no. Mine, I was like, is the whole sole coming apart?
Ooh, I would be so mad and embarrassed.
Well, I hadn't gotten too far. So
yikes.
That's the good thing. Had to come in and change it. Listen, in the chat is going up. Crystal Waite says, yes, forensic accountant. I saw that. Oh, which Cosby show? I must have missed the chat. Forensic accountant says, low-key, the greatest part about watching ABC in the 70s was their announcer. Dude was an icon. He did have an iconic voice. And bringing those specials in, yep. That was when we had the Sunday movie of the week and things of that nature. We don't have those type of things anymore. We were a proper country.
Yeah, the old world.
The old world. It is not coming back. No way, no how.
Unless it burns down to the ground and we have to reset it.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood.
It is not coming back. Okay, so listen, I told you about this story on Reddit, right?
Is this the $700,000 lady?
Yes. So, again, let me give you the details. She dated a man for 20 years.
See?
She left the relationship because he cheated.
But, sis, what you going, 20 years and y'all ain't married?
Well.
Come on, girl.
She left it, and she got with somebody else.
Should have left at year 3 like me.
And she gets a call 3 years later that her ex has passed away and he left her his entire estate worth $700,000 despite having a pregnant wife at the time of his death. His wife and his wife's parents have asked her, have told her she need not take the money. When we come forward, we're gonna get Trent Jackson's reaction to this.
Oh,
He's
so this
looking at me.
this what you doing? You gonna bait me like this and then go to commercial?
I am.
You know what? This is your show, not mine.
On the other side, we will get more into the reaction and the story. I want to hear what you guys would do. 800-920-1580 if you like. We'll get more into it.
Cause what?
KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency on low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA member FDIC.
Watch out!
You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by January 31st at coveredca.com.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So do you want the deeper details now, or are you going to give us your pre-assessment?
My pre-assessment?
Yes.
Because I'm usually right, at least 80%, so I'll take my B tonight. If it's more, we'll take that too. However, first of all, the pregnant wife, why are your parents doing your bidding for you or assisting with you? Why do you need a gang to come in? And I guess you would need a gang to come and collect $700K. However, there are two things at play here. It's important to update your paperwork. So we don't know if he updated his paperwork prior to this wife. Clearly he didn't. But if you are married and you know that you have a will somewhere, you need to go and change your paperwork, because that paperwork is what the judge and everybody else is going to use to issue out your estate, whether it's contested or not. He was very clear about where he wanted his money to go. And he could have had a change of heart. He could have, first of all, there was some contention in the relationship. He cheated, whatever. So you have to think about it. He wasted this woman's time for 20 years, essentially. Then he went and got some other woman, got her pregnant. He probably had buyer's remorse, a wife too, and said, I should have just stayed over here and did the right thing the first time. And then the karma probably caught up with him and he just croaked. So his last and final, my bad was, here, Miss Girl, I wasted 20 years of your life, cheated on you and stepped out. Here is a bag for all the stuff I put you through. Have a good day.
And you were mostly right, but there's some twists and turns to the story.
Of course there is, because it's $700K and there's scammery involved, because people want that money. That's a lot of money.
So here's the full story. This is her Reddit post. My ex and I were together for almost 20 years. We never got married because it never felt necessary, and we were child-free. I had problems with birth control, so he chose to get a vasectomy. I found out that he cheated on me 3 years ago. I left him, and he got with his adultering partner. So the wife is who he was cheating on the woman with. He said 6 months later, I heard that they were married. I found out that I was pregnant with my current boyfriend, and a year into dating, even though we still weren't there in the relationship, we thought we could make it happen, right? So they have their little family going on. She said that the ex kept texting her, birthdays, holidays. She said she never responded. But when he heard that she had a daughter, he sent her a very lengthy text about, that he never cheated on her again, and that he was hurt and all of these things. And again, she said she never responded to that lengthy message or any of the other ones. And he finally stopped texting her. So a few months after that, he unfortunately unalived himself.
Wow.
And
so was that unaliving related to the breakup of the grief of the 20-year relationship going down the drain?
Not sure, but she said that a few months after he passed, she was contacted by someone involved with his estate, and basically he left her everything besides he left his parents some of his pension, and he left some money to his nephew, but nothing to his wife and the child that she was carrying.
Because he made a mistake and he felt bad for it. And
he sent her a letter. Yeah, there's a letter.
There's buyer's remorse.
And it was apologizing for what he did and saying that he loved her and wished her and her. So this was done. It was purposely done.
He did it on purpose.
It wasn't a change. She said that he wished her and her family happiness, and he wanted to be able to help her with that. And so that is why he left the money to her. But his wife and parent, not just the wife's parents, his parents also.
So they done all conjured up in a room to try to get this money back, and they all gonna split the money.
And so she went to Reddit asking if she, am I the butthead if I don't return give them the money?
No, because you wasted 20 years of your life, dealt with some emotional turmoil and some trauma. You should be compensated for that. And the jump off, who's now pregnant and bagless, should just stay in your spot as a jump off. You knew that you was not the woman that he loved. You knew that he preferred someone else. So now you're just trying to claw and hang on to whatever you can because you were the jump off. Be the hoochie that you are. Go get a job and have a good day.
Well,
you have that man's child, and that's your memory.
Listen, forensic accountant, I think he agrees with you. He says, an estate can be challenged in probate, even with a will, a trust is more airtight.
Yep, that's why I got one.
And you were right about that. Crystal Waite says, exactly. I feel he knew you don't have that much money and not manage it correctly. This looks like reverse acrimony. That's the film that stars Taraji, produced by Tyler Perry, that we've heard so much about the boat. And Forensic Accountant also says, oh, that's something else. But listen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm kind-hearted.
You know
so
what
I would not give, I'm keeping the majority, but I might give something, because there is a baby involved. I might set up some type of trust for the child with some amount of money in there that can grow over time.
He could have did that himself for his own
child.
child. So he said, no, you don't need no money. This baby, the money is yours. And he left very clear instruction. He didn't want that baby. He didn't want that woman. He didn't want nothing to do with none of them over there. That's why they're all conjured up in a room trying to get at that girl's money. You know what I would do? I would take that $700, $700K, and be out into Bali real quick, okay?
Change your number to move and keep the thing moving.
And then stop off at Vanuatu and then drop off some of that money and continue to Bali and kick it with Russell.
You were determined that you were going to stash
something. I already did, baby.
In the cut.
I already did.
Oh, after that show, you were like, what is it?
Getaway, honey. y'all know when I disappeared for about 5 days, I tell y'all I'm sleeping. Y'all know where I'm at off the internet. I'm out. I'm doing stuff.
I would, I mean, of course, you know, what if the child is not? I definitely would put some money in the trust for a child.
You got your own kids. It should have been his baby, okay? But instead, it went to the jump off. So he knew what he was doing. He made a mistake. He cleaned it up and left it in the end. She ain't got to give him nothing because it's documents and papers they can have all day and challenge whatever. But keep on playing. Y'all going to end up with him.
With who?
Him, the man that left the money.
Listen, I mean, that's a tough situation, though. But then some people are saying, hey, she knew. I don't know if she knew.
But you know what?
They're implying she may have known, the wife may have known when he was in the relationship.
Of course she
with
knew.
The ex, and that is her karma.
If he is... It is, because if he is, listen, you know when a man don't want you, and you know, listen, he made it very clear. If I was married to somebody, thank God I'm not. If I was married to somebody and they did a will and the reading of the will is like, wait a minute, what? But you already knew. See, she
moving some furniture around.
She thought that she was in there because she got the ring and got the baby. And she got played because she was playing. It is her karma. You've been doing all that playing. You don't win in the end when you do stuff like that.
When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock, their beef. Stephen A. went absolutely nuclear. Maybe it's a little cat inspiration. He had a lot to say.
I love it.
All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
If spring can take the snow away, if spring can take the snow away, can it melt away all our mistakes? Can it melt away all our mistakes? Memories made in the coldest winter.